representative of Egypt, and I now give the floor to the permanent acting Deputy Director of Department on Non-Proliferation and Disarmament of the Russian Federation. Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues, regional security is facing daunting challenges. Tensions are heightening. Conflicts are rising. Old conflicts are festering. New conflicts are emerging. Normalization of the situation is possible only through direct dialogue of all stakeholders on the basis of the norms and principles of international law in line with the purposes and principles of the United Nations. In addressing regional problems, it is not acceptable to resort to force or the threat of force, and also not acceptable is non-Security Council approved intervention in conflict resolution. A concerted collective action rooted in the authority of the United Nations are, however, necessary. A key factor which facilitates the maintenance of security at the regional and sub-regional levels is achievement of agreements on cessation of destabilizing military activity, arms control, and disarmament. Global trends towards deteriorating security are also reverberating in Europe. Key agreements on arms control are being destroyed as are confidence-building instruments. The military capacity and military activity of NATO is growing at our borders. Clearly, so long as NATO fails to abandon the policy of deterrence of Russia, cooperation and dialogue with NATO is made complicated. Under these circumstances, measures are necessary to improve the situation. The focus should be on implementation in good faith of existing agreements, including the Vienna document. Additional voluntary transparency measures are constructive. We propose that agreement be reached on measures to de-escalate, including reciprocal reduction of military activity along the borders of the Russian Federation and NATO members, and fine-tuning the incident prevention mechanisms and addressing dangerous military activity. Structured dialogue on security issues in the OSCE region constitutes an important confidence-building measure aimed at military de-escalation. This can help to facilitate the creation of conditions to discuss key European security and arms control issues. Russia stands ready to engage constructively on the above-mentioned areas. We consistently advocate resolving regional security issues through political and diplomatic avenues, including via arms control and disarmament agreements. Ensuring international information security is one of the thorniest issues on the United Nations negotiations track related to national security interests. All the more significance was the adoption by consensus this year of the final reports of the United Nations Open-Ended Working Group and the group of government experts, despite the divergent positions. This positioned the Russian Federation and the United States to submit a joint draft resolution to the First Committee on developments in the field of information and telecommunications in the context of international security and promoting responsible conduct of states in ICTs. Positive results have been reflected therein of the Open-Ended Working Group and the GGE. This will underpin the further efforts of the new Open-Ended Working Group, which will operate in 2021 to 2025. We urge all parties to support this resolution. The adoption of this resolution by consensus would be a logical demonstration of the intention of UN states to restore the single-track negotiations process. The United Nations has a leadership role in addressing issues related to arms control, disarmament, and non-proliferation, as well as issues related to international peace and security. The objectives of strengthening existing and building new arms control regimes should be addressed through already existing convention instruments. The microphone has been cut off. I thank the representative of the Russian Federation, and I now give the floor to the representative of Vietnam.